everyone, it's Chris here, your friendly neighborhood queer, and today I'm here to talk about some asexual webcomics. This is a video that I've tried to do so many times. I actually had a video like this planned to go up on the Rainbow Library channel, but that channel has taken a bit of a hiatus, and so I decided to refilm it and do a kind of asexual webcomics TBR for myself, but then also recommend some ones that I have read to you all. And we're just going to jump into it, and there's so many on my list, and I just want to give each of them a little bit of time to tell you what it's about and where the ace rep in the story is. And I'm super excited to be reading some of these in the upcoming weeks because I've just been really in the mood for some queer webcomics, especially ones with ace representation. So, yeah, let's go. First is a parody of 50 Shades of Grey with an asexual main character named Anwar. I love how diverse the story is and the representation in the story because we don't just have an asexual main character, we also have a lot of racial diversity in the community and the kink community that it's shown in the story, and I feel like the representation of the kink community is done so much better than I've seen in other stories out there. We'll just say that. And that's kind of one of the intentions of Tab Kempton when they went into the story. They wanted to show it more accurately. And I really love that. The main character, Anwar, gets dragged to a kink club by his best friend, I believe. And at the kink club, he meets a cross-dresser named Vixen, and then in his daily life he meets with Vixen again, and they start to build a romance. So Anwar is asexual, but he's not aromantic. So I don't know if he's homoromantic or biromantic, but he's having feelings for a cross-dresser. So that's where the story kind of starts off and where we get into. I really love the relationship between Anwar and Vixen, mainly because of the way the communication is there. You see great attention to detail and the fact that like they want different things. One of them is very much in the same sex and has kinks, the other person isn't, and the way that they communicate and they make the relationship work, it seems like it's going to work, is really fantastic in the story. There's a sequel to the story called Shades After, which I'm probably going to be reading in the next couple weeks because I want to know where the story goes from where we left off. Because I think we were at a good point, but I don't know what's going to happen next. So I'm excited to read Shades After. Girls with Slingshots. The Girls with Slingshots is like a slice of life kind of story with these two best friends, and it's like you're following their daily adventures and misadventures, you know, and their lives. So it's like their daily, everyday lives and relationships. And apparently this is a very, very funny comic. I've heard a lot of great things about this comic. And the comic has one of the main two characters gets into a relationship with a girl who is asexual. So one of the main two characters, while exploring their sexuality, starts to date a girl, and that girl is asexual, and it's mentioned in the comic. So there's an asexual love interest. And so I'm really interested in reading this. I know that doesn't happen until a bit farther into the comic, like somewhere in the middle of the comic or something like that, but I'm still very excited to read it. Sister Clara. I don't know much about Sister Clara at all. I feel like people are saying it's kind of Powerpuff Girl-y, like it's magic and maybe a little bit of crime fighting, but I know that the character of Sister Catherine is asexual and is also in a relationship, I think, with one of the other characters. And so, yeah, I'm interested in reading it. It seems pretty interesting and conceptually, so we'll see if I can get to that in the next couple of weeks. Rock and Riot. I've wanted to read Rock and Riot for a while. I didn't actually know where to find it online. I didn't know the name of it. Basically, I saw the description of this webcomic and didn't know the name of it, and then I just couldn't find it, and I'm so happy that I found it now. Essentially, it's like a story set in 1950s high school with these two gangs. One's an all-girl gang and one's an all-boy gang, and there's a lot of queer representation in this story, and there's a lot of different types of asexual representation. There's people who are asexual and aromantic, but there's also characters who are asexual and have some type of romantic. Like there's multiple ace rep in the story, is what I'm trying to say. And so I'm really excited to read it. I'm so happy that I know the name of it now. It's Rock and Riot, and I'll put links to most of these if I can find links to them in the description box down below. I'll also just have a link to tagpecker, the LGBT, because then they have a list of all of these webcomics if you want to just do like your own search. So yeah. Ignition Zero. I don't know too much about Ignition Zero. It has a lot of different queer characters, one of them being Ace. I don't think it's the main character, but I could be wrong. It's about a university student who drags his friends into this world of spirits and elves and magic, and them having to protect some fairy princess or something like that. I don't know. A lot of queer characters. It's a fantasy story, and it sounds interesting to me, and I definitely want to read a bit more fantasy. I've been kind of slacking on my fantasy reads, so I'm interested in reading this one. Speaking of fantasy stories, we're going to go to Supernormal Step, which is a story about a girl named Fiona who gets trapped in a parallel universe that has mutants and monsters and magic. And Fiona is explicitly, like they said on the page, asexual and aromantic. And so asexual, aro ace main character in a fantasy webcomic series. I'm not sure if the webcomic's done. I think it's still ongoing, but I'm very interested in reading this one for sure. Heartless. Heartless is a story with a main character who's a vampire named Clara, who is asexual, and it's set in Victorian London. The story is written by an asexual woman. It's an own voices webcomic, and that's what made me more interested in reading it. When I first read the description of it, I wasn't really sure, but knowing it is an own voices webcomic, it does make me very interested in checking out this story. Side quest. The concept of side quest made me really excited. Then I found out that there was aro ace characters in it, and made me very, very excited. Side quest is about a girl named Maricela Duante, I believe, who is 17, and she is like the professional odd job person. Like, you know, when you're playing games and you go on all these different side quests, go and get this lost cat, go and fix this thing, make this, and bring that to me, collect these things for me. That is what Mariella does. Mariella is very content doing side quests, and that's all that she wants to do, but then something happens that means that she has to go and do something much bigger that she doesn't want to do or that she gets wrapped up in. And it sounds super interesting, and then I found out the main character, Maricela, is aro ace, but in a queer platonic relationship with one of the other main characters. And so all three of the main characters in the story are aro ace, and oh my god, that just sounds really awesome. And two of them are in a queer platonic relationship together, and I just need to read this, essentially. I just need to read this. It just seems so up my alley as like a gamer, as a book lover, as a person who likes comics, reading, and games. This just seems like a bundle of awesomeness for me. So that is it that I'm going to have in this video. I'm probably going to read more than what is on here. I may actually dive into some other things that I have on like a list, but I'm going to be reviewing these on my channel when I read them because I just think it would be awesome to get more love for queer webcomics out there, especially ones with ace rep, because not a lot of people have been reading those. And so yeah, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye!